Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tech Informist. This is episode 80, recorded on Monday, June the 15th, 2015. My name is Kevin Harvell, and I am joined by Brad Whiteside. Brad, how are you doing this morning?
Excellent. It's one of my favorite days of the year, E3.
Yeah, it's like Christmas morning for you. And
It really is. I look forward to it every year. It's kind of like when I know summer is like just about to start. It's like
right,
my official start for summer for me.
right, all the main game manufacturers start releasing details and trailers and information on their fall lineup as they gear up for the big holiday season. So it's good stuff and a lot of good things. And we'll definitely be talking about this as we kind of watched some of the kickoff video yesterday from Bethesda. Last night, actually. A lot of good information there. So, The Tech Informist is a tech podcast, obviously, hence the name Tech Informist, in which we try to inform you about some of the latest news in the world of technology, whether it is smartphones or applications or now gaming and computer hardware, just various things like that, and other topics that may or may not follow into your news feed. So you can watch us live on Mondays and Wednesdays, typically at, let's see, what time would that normally be? Noon Eastern Standard Time. We're recording a little bit early today just because of all the E3 news, and Brad needs to get down to the Microsoft store. He's actually going to watch the Microsoft E3 press conference from our local Microsoft store here in St. Louis.
Yeah, because they usually announce something like it's like, boom, out today. And I want to be there just in case.
You want to be there just in case that boom today is something that you're ready to boom drop money on.
Right.
All right. So you can find us on Twitter at Tech Informist, and also join us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you can follow all of our interesting episodes. And, from time to time, we'll record a video review of various technology things that we're taking a look at. And also make sure to subscribe to the Tech Informist on iTunes or TuneIn Radio or Stitcher Radio, or please just any of your favorite podcast apps. Subscriptions, downloads, all comes in very handy. So we're going to go ahead and kick off this show today with a little recap of Bethesda's E3 2015 presentation from last night. Brad, do you want to kick things off here?
Yeah, give me just a sec.
All right.
But yeah, last night was really good. It's interesting to see Bethesda. This was their very first E3 conference, and you almost couldn't tell because they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, everything seemed to go really smooth and very well presented.
Yeah, absolutely, and they did just the right amount of everything. It seems like they didn't just tease something and let it go. Like, they showed some gameplay, and if it had multiplayer, they showed that. And so, I mean, they started off with Doom, which is a beloved franchise by a lot. I can't say that, I'm one of those people. I just didn't grow up with it. But, I mean, I give Doom some props because, I mean, it's probably one of the first, first-person shooters. And if you're into that kind of arena, it's a big deal. But they showed off Doom, and it didn't look too bad. I think from a classic Doom standpoint, I think there will be a lot of people happy to see, a lot of the weapons return, the demons return, and apparently they have a few surprises up their sleeve, which they usually do. So I think it'll be a good way to go. Do you happen to catch Doom, Kevin?
Yeah, I was watching that, and it really, the levels that they're showing off, I believe they were on the, like the Mars base and stuff like that. It really reminded me a lot of Doom 3, some of the early levels there. And then I was watching like the post conference talk with Morgan Webb, and I think his name's Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
They were talking with, pretty much everybody that spoke and presented during the presentation. And They were talking like, yeah, this is early state, early levels of the new Doom, but it did look really good. Some of the things that were kind of throwing me off a little bit was the fact that when you go to switch a gun, it's like everything pauses.
Well, it doesn't pause. It kind of like slows down time. So things still happen. You can't just stay in that menu and like cheat the system.
Yeah,
It just like briefly slows down time so you get a chance to change. Let's see, which weapon do I want? Oh, I want this one.
yeah,
I think that's kind of neat because Fallout sort of has a thing like that, except it actually does completely pause the whole game because you go to your menu to select weapons, or you can go there to select some weapons.
yeah.
But the one thing that did surprise me is they had a forge. Kind of forge world called Snap Map, and you can make your own maps for Doom.
Right.
I thought that was really cool especially for a multiplayer based game. That's some cool stuff. So I'd love to see what the community creates out of that. I'm sure they'll try to create some classic Doom maps and whatnot,
Yeah.
which is perfect because they give you the ability to get close to that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, which I believe this is the first time they've actually implemented a multiplayer aspect into the Doom series.
I believe you're right. Because as far as I know, it's always been a first person shooter. It's just been
Yeah, it's like just the main
single player campaign, shoot 'em up kind of thing. But
just looking at the way the characters were moving around and sliding side to side, it just seemed like the people are just gliding. You're controlling people that are just like gliding and sliding around.
and then speaking of multiplayer, they announced a new what looked to be like a Team Fortress esque kind of hack and slash shooter. It's called Battle Cry, and it just looks like that kind of big arena kind of play with the silly, I don't want to say silly art style, but real close to Team Fortress art style. That's the closest thing I could think of when I saw that. I would say it's probably not a game for me, but I'm sure there are people out there that will really enjoy that game. They didn't really release too much details on it other than it's supposedly coming 2015.
Yeah, it was the time that Battle Cry got on screen was actually very short. It was, hey, here it is. This is some of the video. This is what, you got a few different characters. And all right, let's move on. So, I mean, I think it's still kind of in or some not really early stages, but
Makes me wonder if it's going to be another free to play, just like Team Fortress 2 is. That would be interesting.
yeah, it didn't seem like there was as much depth into what it was that I seen. But
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
feel like it's just a multiplayer thing. So,
Yeah, kind of a smaller kind of a game, just something, hey, let's just get a group of people together and let's just
see what we can make out of it.
yeah, just like hack it out.
For those of you who are huge Dishonored fans, which I'm not sure how many there are, I haven't played the first one and I'm a little ashamed, but they announced the second one, and a lot of people are really excited for the second one. So that makes me kind of want to go back and play the first one, which apparently is also coming to the Xbox One as like one of the special editions with all the DLC attached to
Yes.
it.
Yeah, some bumped up graphics and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't have a price on that, but I would assume it would be nothing more than 60. But you could also assume that it's nothing less than 40. So somewhere in that range, I would guess.
Yeah. I mean, it looked really good, and it looked like it was definitely something that's going to have a lot of story to it, not just all action. And
right. I would say this is their most story-driven thing that they've shown. Everything else is very... not that Fallout doesn't have any story, but we'll get to that. But it focuses on just, you can either play as a guy or a girl, it looked like, which that seems to be a reoccurring theme for any of their games, unlike Ubisoft last year that got a lot of flack for not having a playable woman character. Because, well, as you know, there are a lot of women gamers now. So
yeah, it's good to see more and more companies recognize that and actually acknowledge, hey, let's go ahead and make this.
Right. I mean, and to me, all I see is a new character model and maybe a new woman voice actor. So I
Right.
mean, that's not a whole bunch extra, in my opinion.
Right.
But so the one that actually really kind of excited me in a way, being as I kind of like card games. Not so much like Magic at the Gathering because I'm terrible at that game,
Yeah.
but
But
things of that
Pokemon.
nature. Yeah, Pokemon, that's easier. Yu-Gi-Oh. But the Elder Scrolls Legends is going to be a trading card game for PC and iPad, or iOS. So I guess specifically iPad because I guess you'd need that like extra room
Yeah, the
plugging
bigger
the
screen
card. Yeah,
probably.
the bigger screen, but definitely coming to PC. So it's free to play, which is awesome. And I'm assuming there'll be some kind of like, oh, pay this much for a booster pack or pay this much for bigger packs.
Yeah,
And
chances at rare cards and stuff like that.
yeah, and I'm sure you can play the game just fine without buying any of that. Just like any other free to play, it just probably helps you along faster if you buy the booster packs and such. But it is free to play, so I'm definitely going to check that out because I do like me some card games.
Yeah. Now, what did you think about the Elder Scrolls Online? I mean, it did not get a whole
So
lot of.
I played the demo, or the beta, I want to say a month or so ago,
Okay.
before it launched, and they were testing their servers. And I would really see myself getting lost in that game for a while. It was fun. There really wasn't anything that I played that I don't know, didn't like about it, for lack of better words. And it's a little early for me still.
Right.
But no, I enjoyed it, and I want to pick it up soon. Just because I know some of my buddies are going to pick it up too. I mean, and so it used to have a paywall. It used to be buy a $60 game and then pay $15 a month after that. That's huge anymore. That you can't do that anymore. It seems like free to play is the model that's here to stay.
Right.
And they finally, almost after a full year, were like, okay, we give up. We're going to do the free to play now. And so they went that route, and it looks like it's going to benefit them in the long run because there's going to be a lot of people buying that game. So,
Yeah. Really. I've played some of, I guess it was Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and
oh, I love that
I mean, it is that is such an amazing series. The whole Elder Scrolls aspect of it, because
it's
you
a
can do so much. It's so customizable. You can talk to all these characters and interact, and
it's a very different experience from that game. It being it has a different feel to it than the traditional Elder Scrolls
yeah, this is more of
games.
like getting groups of people together and go around and doing missions, doing raids and things like that.
You could almost say it's like World of Warcraft meets Elder Scrolls. It's kind of like that a
Yeah,
little bit.
I think it's going to be really something very popular for people that have the time to play, which unfortunately I'm not one of.
Shoot, I mean, it'd be hard for me to put enough time into this without trying to finish all these other games before Fallout comes out. Which, speaking of Fallout, so Fallout comes out this fall. It's like, hey, surprise! Here's Fallout 4. Earlier this month, and then surprise, it comes out November 10th, 2015.
Yeah, so just under 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, and they also threw another surprise at us last night. If you have an iOS device and you love Fallout, they just released Fallout Shelter. It's a what would you compare it to for a game? It's
Tiny
like
Death,
Tiny
Tiny
Death
Death
Star.
Star,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
from Star
perfect.
Wars. That was the first thing that came to my mind. When I'm sitting there watching that, I'm like, that looks a lot like Tiny Death Star.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, it's coming out for iOS," and guess what? It's out tonight after the show, and the crowd erupted in
Yeah,
cheers.
that was the biggest surprise.
I would say yes. That would be one of the bigger surprises. There were a few others that stood out to me. So let's see. The VATS system in Fallout 4 is back. Basically, it's kind of like a aiming system that is kind of goes through your Pit Boy. The Pit Boy is your little it's like your smartwatch, but it does a lot more than that, and
Yeah,
it's big. But the VAT system's back, so that's awesome.
Now, when you talk about this, this is, whenever they're showing an image, you're like aiming at somebody, a
Yeah, and then you
character
can
or an enemy, and you see, hey, if you hit him in the torso, you hit him at like 40. It's a stronger.
and that's actually the percent chance of you hitting them.
Okay.
So, like, if you hit them in the torso, it's like, hey, that's a 40% chance to hit it. Or if you hit it in somewhere like in the head, it's like a 16% chance. But this looks like it's from a really far away shot. So,
Okay.
because normally it's a lot closer to like 80s, 90s% chance, especially if you're up close. But if you're fighting death claws, you don't want to be up close. Anywho, so I was really excited to see that come back because we really have not had any details up till now, and I'm trying to get to my Twitter feed because I actually did kind of a decent job of bringing up some things that they're bringing back. Another thing that they brought in, not back, was that you'd be able to like build your own fortifications, which is kind of interesting. Makes me think of like a tower defense esque element to it. But I'm super excited for that.
Yeah. A lot of customization in this game. I mean, completely customizing your character. And again, you can choose whether you create a female or a male character.
Yeah, so all right, so there you go. Male and female, huge once again. I don't put it past Bethesda to always do that. They're really good about that. The game actually starts out pre-apocalypse. That's, as far as I know, the first time they've ever done that in any of the Fallout series, and I'm really excited about that. You actually get to play, right before the bombs drop. So that's pretty awesome because I think there's a lot of emotion to be had there.
Right.
We already talked about the VAT system. So the special edition for Fallout is going to have a real-life Pip-Boy that you can put your iOS or Android device in with a special app to make it look exactly like a Pip-Boy that is also linked to the game, and it's only $120 for the special edition. I say only because normally they've been like 250 lately, so I'm a little surprised it's less than 150. But kudos to Bethesda for making that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this actually works. And I mean, looking at the image, I mean, it is huge on somebody's arm. I'm not sure if somebody
Yeah.
would want to actually wear that on their
Oh,
wrist.
I'm sure there'll be plenty that'll
Yeah,
wear that.
plenty of people that geek out on that. Say, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Me being one of them. Let's see. Yeah, and unfortunately for those of you who have Windows phones, we have nothing to be said about that just yet, maybe if ever.
Yeah,
And
you
if you want
have
to play
nothing to
Fallout,
be excited about.
if you want to play
With that.
Fallout Shelter, you got to have an iOS device. So, sorry,
Which,
not sorry. I don't know what. I mean, if you're a Windows fan, you know what to expect at this point.
yeah.
Um,
So to talk about Fallout Shelter, I was able to install that. Got an iPhone 6 here and installed and was playing that, set it up, and it's very, like we talked about, tiny Death Star. You create power stations and water treatment facilities and diners for food, and you start off with a line of dwellers standing outside your vault door.
it's kind of like an ant farm.
Yeah, yeah. You just start putting them in, and you assign them. There's a classification system they're calling special. So each letter in special stands for something else, like the S is strength and the C is for charisma, for example. In different areas, for example, I think agility, the A is where you would want to somebody that's strong in that area. You would want to place them in the diner, for example, to be creating food. And so you can you just continually build left and right. You can actually build upwards and downwards within your quote unquote vault, your underground bunker. You can get raided by raiders will come along from time to time. I've actually been attacked like 2 or 3 times.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you can accumulate weapons, special outfits, like because you can when you complete certain tasks. For example, like you will collect 50 things of water. Certain things will unlock these little lunch boxes which I'm not so very familiar with the Fallout series, so I don't know if these lunch boxes have a.
Um, the lunchbox, it's kind of like Mario's coins in Mario. It's just something that appears frequently.
Okay.
And you can actually make bombs out, bottle cap bombs out of them.
Okay.
And the
Or,
bottle caps are actually the money system
yeah, I
in
was going to say,
Fallout.
speaking of caps, that is the currency system.
Yeah. So, real quick, the last two things that were confirmed to be in there, and as far as I know, never been in there to this extent, are they're going to have weapon modifications, which I'm not talking like Fallout New Vegas. I'm talking like you can take a laser pistol and keep reiterating on it till it's just this ginormous laser rifle of insanity. But that looks amazing, and I can't wait to use that system. And then there's also you can customize your own armor, specifically power armor. So that is really mind blowing. Like all the customization they have in this game is just insane.
Yeah, so if you're like a MacGyver fan,
Right.
you could take duct tape and typewriters and wrenches and just the different parts from all these items that are scattered throughout the Fallout world. You can take different pieces and, you know, bump up your guns and create new weapons and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of customization in this game. So if you really like that kind of thing, and you really like open worlds, and if you like post-apocalyptic like Mad Max, you're gonna like all of this. Apparently, they've been working on this game since 2009, like right after
Yeah,
Fallout
right
3.
after 3 was done.
But I guess they withheld some of it and decided to kind of do New Vegas in the meantime to try to test some more things out.
Right.
But they really ramped up production after Skyrim, obviously.
Right.
So they've
So
been working on this game for a while.
yeah, speaking of the previous games in the Fallout series, as somebody that has never, I honestly admit I've never, or should I say shamefully admit, I've never played any of the Fallout games. Would it make sense for me to go back and
You will not need to go back to play because each story in the Fallout series has been different and
kind
pretty
of its
much
own story
disconnected.
arc? Okay.
Yeah. The biggest things are going to be the familiarity of like either weapons or characters. Some characters are reoccurring,
Okay.
um, but it's not a big deal if you don't know who they are because you'll find out, and you can
Okay.
even ask them like, "Who are you?" and in your dialogue, and they'll tell you.
All right.
So yeah, this is as good as game as ever to start out on, and if you really like it, jump on your PC, download the others, or buy them for cheap on any of the old consoles and play them because they're great.
Now I know I don't think they announced it, but do you think they might reissue like some remastered editions?
I wondered that myself. I was actually wondering if we were going a remaster like collection of last generation, but it seems that they're staying away from that from these series just as of right now. If they were to do that, I would guess it'd be another year or two for that. And they may even try to add a few goodies in with it.
Because
I
I
could,
know with the whole aspect of non-backward compatibility with current consoles, of people wanting to, move more towards a one console entertainment center.
right, exactly. And I mean, if you're looking to do that, by the way, Best Buy has a deal right now. Trade in your old 360 or PS3 and get 175 off your Xbox One.
Right.
So
Yeah, I was like, ooh, it seems like a
that
good price.
effectively puts it at what, 175 for the console?
Yeah, depending on, if you want just the 500 gigabyte or if you want the 1 terabyte, that's $400.
If you're listen, if you're on a budget, get the 500. 500 will do you just fine. You can buy what, 2 terabytes for like 60 or $70 later on. Plug it in, it works just fine. There's no lag or anything between games if you're playing games off that hard drive. I have one actually,
Okay.
and if you've got a little extra money to spend, sure, go ahead and get the 1 terabyte, and that's less you got to deal with right away. So I
Okay.
mean, and they're only what, $50 difference. So
Yeah,
there's
350
also
or
that too.
400. I would think I would probably go for the $400 version just for the matte finish, the terabyte hard drive, and probably be good to go. And you get
Well,
the new
you get the
controller.
new controller, which yeah. So you'd be able to. You wouldn't have to go out and buy a headset per se. You could just plug in your earbuds, and instead of buying all the adapters that you used to have to buy. But the adapter, if you still have an adapter, and you have the old chat headset or any of the special headsets, don't worry, because that stuff's still on there. They made it a backwards compatibility thing, which is nice because I was worried about that. Than just putting like a 3.5 millimeter. That would also have upsetted people to just have that. So
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess, as we mentioned before, you're getting ready to head off to the Microsoft store here in St. Louis to go check out the.
Microsoft's E3 conference, which is like an hour long, versus Sony's, which is going to be a half an hour, because they, once again, this year they just don't have a lot to share.
Yeah, they
Um,
apparently
I,
just didn't bring that much.
I can almost guarantee you they're going to show off Project Morpheus, which is the virtual reality headset, which I'm interested to see, because it seems. Oh, that's something we can talk about. What do you think about Microsoft teaming up with
Oculus Rift.
Oculus Rift, and having each Oculus Rift is going to get a Xbox controller?
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. I haven't read much on that, but I kept seeing the headlines. I'm like, wait a second, so if Microsoft's got HoloLens and now they're kind of doing some stuff here with Oculus Rift, what exactly is going on?
Well,
Is
if I'm going to guess, they are super serious about
virtual
um,
reality and
about
augmented
gaming
reality.
PC.
Yeah,
They want to bring back, hey, we're serious about gaming PC. We want you guys to game on the PC and the Xbox, and to prove that, we're teaming up with Oculus Rift and helping these guys launch this product, because we know if you're going to use it, it's going to be on a PC. Let's be honest.
right.
So I think that's what that move was. And with that little adapter for Windows 10, I mean, you'll be able to use the Xbox One controller right away on the PC. So
Yeah, I mean that'll be.
I'm pretty sure none of the virtual reality stuff comes out till spring of next year. So we got a little ways.
Got a
So
ways to go.
yeah.
Some of the other things that have already kind of started leaking out. Yesterday they also had Nintendo World Championships, where it was kind of like some tournament style tournament. God,
Yeah,
can't
that was
talk.
playing on Twitch when I went to go find the live stream.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff about the Splatoon game, which looks like you're simply two teams are going back and forth with each other, and you're trying to color with paint essentially more of the map than the other team, and whoever finishes the round with the most wins. There's weapons and shooting and stuff like that. It really looked like a very fun, fast-paced game, actually.
Another thing that leaked out, which is actually it's about Gears of War, and I think it's good stuff, because they pretty much might have confirmed or disconfirmed, or however you want to say it, my fear of them just polishing the first Gears of War game instead of remastering it and putting in the latest engine, which seems like what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like it's going to be closer to Gears 3 than it will be to like Gears 1 or 2 or Judgment.
Okay.
So that is really exciting, because 3 plays the best, and it's very, very pretty game. So I can't imagine what it's going to be like on the Xbox One. Oh, hey, time to get
Time to get up.
up. Anyway,
Now, did you see any of the images, the screenshots that were? Well, I guess they weren't really screenshots, but some of the images that were shown off with the Transformers Devastation.
I heard about that, and I am very interested. But apparently, it's only going to be for the 360 and the PC, or did I read something wrong there?
Yeah, it's going to be on Xbox One and PS4.
Oh, okay, cool,
I
cool.
mean, that's not official release because they haven't like officially announced it. It was just some
Well,
stuff that
right.
have kind of like leaked out, but it'll be on the next gen consoles.
And the
But
art
what?
style on that was cell shading, wasn't it?
Yes, all cell shaded, and the character models are the original Generation One
Nice.
Transformers. So Optimus looks like Optimus, Bumblebee and Megatron look like Bumblebee and Megatron, and of
Oh, so
course,
first
seeing the humongous Devastator,
generation.
all that green and purple, I'm like, yes, this is Transformers.
Starscream, Grimlock, Barricade, so on, so on.
Yeah, so they originally talked about 5 playable Autobots, and this is supposed to be kind of like a Double Dragon kind of, mash them up street fighting kind of,
Oh,
not
interesting.
Street Fighter, but
But more of like an arena-based fighting, maybe,
yeah. So
kind of like a brawler,
yeah, kind of like a brawler where you're
like
just going around beating up
Super
more and more.
Smash Brothers or something, but more
Mm,
3D world.
I don't even know if I'd go Super Smash Brothers style.
No.
No. So hopefully, we'll get some more information. It's being done by Activision, and I can't remember the other who's. I don't
Who's
remember
actually
if
making it?
Activision is. Yeah, Activision is probably the publisher
Publisher, yeah.
who's actually developing it.
Not too sure, but I did manage to get a glimpse of that too. So
Yeah, just seeing those images, I'm like, oh yes, that is. Don't screw it up. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
please
All I'm
give us
saying.
another good Transformers game, because the last one that was actually good was Fall of Cybertron. So it's
Yeah,
been a little while.
yeah. Those Cybertron games were amazing.
Oh my goodness, they best Transformers games yet.
Yeah,
Four for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron. Steam is having their sale right now, and chances are those might be on sale soon. So
might be. I
check
know.
those out.
The most recent Cybertron game is still like $40 brand
Yeah,
new.
it's that good. I remember actually going out to get it the night of, because I loved the first one so much. The multiplayer was fantastic. We played multiplayer forever on that thing, or it felt like it.
Right.
But yeah, really good games.
All right. Well, let's see. And then the other thing from E3 that I've seen so far is Super Mario Maker. Just talking about being able to customize and make your own.
Mario
Yes.
levels.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers levels, and you have different art styles. You've got the original Super Mario Brothers from the NES. You've got Super Mario World. I think also Super Mario Brothers 3, and
Oh,
then also the Wii, the Super Mario for the Wii.
did they have Super Mario 64
No,
or
no, just those 4 art.
Sunshine and Galaxy?
No, not
No.
those art styles.
Oh, okay.
But no, you can pretty much, IGN was doing a nice little walkthrough of some stuff yesterday, or I don't know if it was yesterday, but I was looking at a video on their website yesterday, and you can essentially make your own Super Mario Brothers game. You can create these levels, upload, share them out with other people, and they can, vote on them, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I think they changed the name because it used to just be Mario Maker, and now it's Super Mario Maker, which I think is a better move for them.
Yeah,
It only makes sense at this point.
right. So that makes the most sense to me.
So yeah, a lot more gaming news coming out today and tomorrow, and by the time Wednesday hits, hope you guys like games. There will be
Yeah.
a lot of news about games, and we'll try to throw in some other articles just so we don't bore you to death with my incredibly time-consuming hobby.
All right. So since we've already spent a half hour, it looks like on E3, let's go ahead and move into some of these other stories here
Yeah.
fairly quick. As mentioned before, YouTube is coming up with their own Twitch competitor, and it's like officially,
Just in time.
yeah, it's like officially announced, a YouTube built for gamers called simply YouTube Gaming. And let's see, more than 25,000 games will each have their own page, a single place for all the best videos and live streams about that title. You'll also find channels from a wide array of game publishers and YouTube creators. So we'll have a link to the official YouTube blog post about this. to get more information on that. And it's going to be just simply 4 games. You're not going to find makeup tutorials and some of the other strange things you can find on YouTube.
So I'm not a huge Google fan, but I'm a really big fan of YouTube gaming, and that's simply because of YouTube switching to HTML5.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be huge because right now, trying to do it on Windows Phone, trying to watch a Twitch stream on Windows Phone is a little difficult. You can do it, but it's a little difficult. Whereas YouTube gaming, I mean, I can just go straight to the site and watch it right off of there. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, so this is going to launch this summer. It's going to be
just in time for all the fall games.
Yep, just
Perfect.
in time. So it should be something really good. I mean, we all know about YouTube and just how amazing of a service that it is.
Well, if by amazing you mean has
sucker.
lots of ads.
Yeah.
Wonder if they'll do anything with that, like pay this amount, get rid of ads. Because I'd be very tempted to do that, depending on how much that is.
Right. Let's see. Looking through those posts, looking for ads, I don't really see anything related to how they're going to handle the ads on there. We'll see. I mean,
I know there's sort of been talk about it, but I don't know if anything will come to fruition or not.
Right. All right. So moving on, Microsoft confirms that Skype will not be a universal app for Windows 10.
This is interesting. I don't fully understand why that is going to be the case.
Yeah. So on July 7th, Microsoft is retiring the current modern Skype app, which was made for Windows 8 and 8.1 in favor of the current desktop client. Now, a new report offers more information on how Skype will be offered inside Windows 10, with Microsoft confirming there are no plans to release a universal Skype app for the OS.
Once again, I don't fully understand that move because most every other app they're doing is universal. Why is Skype different?
Yeah, I mean, Skype is essentially Microsoft's version of Google Hangouts, where Google has tried to make Hangouts be your text messaging, your instant messaging, and video conferencing app. Just on any Android device, you can, if Hangouts is not already installed, you can install it, and it can take care of all those different functions.
The problem is you can't record your stuff with Skype yet.
Exactly.
I say yet because I'm a very optimistic individual.
Right, and the hopes of you will not need a third-party piece of software to be able to record your Skype conversations.
Or video, for that matter.
Yes.
So that would be awesome to have.
Yeah. So just a quick quote that CDNet got from a Microsoft rep. The takeaways: Microsoft is not planning to redo its modern Skype app as a universal Windows app, but instead is replacing that modern Skype app with 3 separate but related universal communications apps. Those messaging, phone, and video apps with Skype, quote-unquote, built in won't be part of Windows 10 when it starts rolling out on July 29th. They will be available, quote-unquote, later this year. Windows users who prefer using the integrated Skype app will be able to use the desktop Skype app. And these new communications apps won't be coming to Windows 7, 8 or 8.1, or Windows Phone 8.1.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how about that little bit of Twitter news?
Yeah, so some somewhat surprising Twitter news.
I would say so too.
Yeah. The first one is that Twitter CEO Dick Costolo is leaving the position. He's going to stay on the board, but Jack Dorsey, who helped co-found, is jumping back in as interim CEO. Jack Dorsey's from St. Louis, and he looks like he just got off a deserted island. He's getting a little shaggy,
kind of scruffy,
a little scruffy. But no, I mean Twitter. Jack Dorsey is still kind of CEO of Square, so he's kind of in charge of 2 major companies right now.
It's kind of the American way right now. All that big scruffy bush on your face.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Yeah. So Costello out, Dorsey back in. And one of the other nice things is that Twitter is going to be removing the 140 character limit from direct messages, which this makes
Yes.
a lot of sense.
Yeah, this
Because
makes more sense. Now, I wish they would just add 20 more characters for tweets to make it even 160 for kind of like closer to like what if you're texting people on AT&T. That would be super awesome, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. But this is nice though.
yeah, because sending somebody a direct message and you have to spread it out over 3 DMs,
Right.
that's like it defeats the purpose.
It really does.
So I believe it's actually going to allow up to 10,000 characters.
Well, if I write him a 10,000 character direct message on Twitter,
I'm
I'd
probably
have
just
problems.
yeah, you might just want to send them an email.
Yeah.
But no, it's good that they're going to kind of remove that limitation in the DMs, and we'll see what happens in the future. And that's supposed to kick off until it launches in July.
Oh, okay. So
So
we got a little time.
a little bit of time left. And tweets will continue to stay at the 140 character limit that it is today.
For now.
For now. Yeah. So
Subject should change without notice or reason.
exactly. All right. So the last thing that I wanted to kind of throw in here is some thoughts about politicians using social media to try to reach potential voters.
Yeah, I'm a little torn on this.
Yeah, with the story that TechCrunch did about Hillary Clinton taking social media cues from Barack Obama, it makes you wonder. Most politicians we already know are not tech savvy people. They're more focused on business and how to, get into office and try to make change while also, making money to secure their financial future as well. So they're not really focused on, the latest in social media. So Hillary Clinton is going to be taking to Twitter, but also Snapchat, Spotify, Instagram, and now Periscope, and even Genius. And the decision by Clinton's campaign to strike so many tech anvils at once led to one particular journalist to jokingly refer to her as the first teen POTUS, President of the United States. So
I'm, like I said, I'm a little torn between this. I think it's a good idea and a bad idea at the same time.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that, so it's really easy to screw up and say something you don't mean to say online because it sounds good in your head, and then you put it on paper and you send it out, and then everyone reads it and they're like, "What are you talking about? You're crazy."
Especially when 9 out of 10 times they're not even the ones that are typing the message.
That also could be a big issue.
They've got their assistants.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if there's going to be some approval process that they want to try to do, which would be really difficult, but, or if there's just like a line of something that they have them type out, they type this exactly out. If you screw it up, you're fired.
Right.
Because, I mean, seriously, this could potentially really hurt them, but it could also really help them because, in the better light of things, they make it to where they're actually communicating with everyone. Because let's be honest, everybody communicates across the internet now. I mean, yes, there's text messages, but that's a little more personal now than it used to be. I just feel like the internet's more of the social space, and your phone and phone number are more of your personal space. And with this, they can reach out to people and kind of let them know, hey, this is what we're doing, and this is what we believe in, and things like that. So in some ways it's good, but in other ways it could be bad. But I guess I just don't want to just dwell on, oh, it could be bad. I think I just gonna go ahead and believe that they can take the reins and do this right.
Right.
Because I mean, if we were to just focus on what could be bad all the time, nothing would ever get done or change.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think it's got the possibility to kind of help reach that younger demographic.
Absolutely. That's exactly why they're doing it.
I mean,
They
that's
want to
one
reach the
thing that
millennials and the Generation X, and
that's one thing that Obama's campaign did back in 2008 and 2012, of course, is to reach the younger demographic because he kind of a tech savvy guy. And I mean, he was still preferred BlackBerry, but most
maybe not so much
politicians,
anymore.
yeah, probably not as much anymore. But that was one of the things that they did really well was to get out the vote and reach the youth and just try to get people to vote, which that is the most important aspect of this is
Yeah.
educate yourself and vote, because if you
Yep.
don't, you really need to
You
zip
got
it.
no right to complain.
Right. It's kind of like
Um,
with Windows 10 and the Insider program. If you're not using it and giving feedback, or if you are using it and not giving feedback, well, stop complaining if you don't like something about it because you haven't voiced your opinions and concerns to Microsoft about it.
right. Real quick, speaking of BlackBerry, did you hear the BlackBerry is supposed to be using Android OS from here on out, possibly?
Maybe not from here on out, but they were talking about with like the next phone, it having Android on it.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that? I feel like that's kind of what
Yeah,
Nokia tried to do with that tablet that just disappeared and nobody's heard of since.
Yeah, just kind of throwing darts, blindly throwing darts and hoping something's going to stick.
It, I don't know. I feel it's over for them. Like, even if they were to put Android on there, I just don't see anything. It's just not going to work.
Yeah. I don't know.
I could be wrong. Maybe everybody wants a physical keyboard again. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of people still like the BlackBerry hardware. They just don't like the BlackBerry OS.
Oh, it's terrible. I really disapprove. That's just me though. To each his own. But
To each his own. That
I
is.
think that about does it for news.
Yeah, that does it for the news. So, App and Entertainment Picks. Let's talk about Jurassic World. You got to go see it. I haven't had a chance to.
Went to go see that Saturday night, and I went in with a little bit of lower expectations than normal, simply because I've been burned on a lot of movies. Not recently, because recently, I've been burned, but this one I was pleasantly surprised. There were a lot of callbacks to the first movie, but they weren't in such a way that they were just hitting you over the head like, "Oh, hey, did you get it? Did you get it? Did you see it?" It was more subtle than that, and it was more of a glance, and if you weren't paying attention, you may not have even noticed. But I really like that they were really subtle about that.
Okay.
It took a little. I would say it took me about 15, 20 minutes to really get into the story, because at first, I'm trying not to give any spoilers out, but at first, they start off, with these two kids, and I'm like, oh no, is this going to be just a kids movie kind of thing? But it really isn't. There really is something for everyone. It's good enough to take your kids to. It's good enough for mom and dad to go to, even the teenagers. I'm sure it's date night for them. I mean, it really is all around, hits all the points.
PG-13, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a little violence because it's PG-13, but it's mostly
vicious dinosaurs.
It's just like the first one. When the violence happens, it's always like behind a tree or a car where you can't see it, but you can kind of hear it, so you understand what's happening. But you don't actually graphically see it, which is fine, because you don't always need that graphical reminder to know exactly what a dinosaur would be eating a person looks like,
So you don't need the Doom 4 version.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need the Bethesda Doom version of that, which, by the way, is really graphic. And if you don't like that kind of thing, maybe you don't want to check that out.
Yeah.
Anywho, I overall really enjoyed myself. I actually really like this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Did you see it in 3D or just
2D?
Okay.
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it in 3D, but most of the people I went with don't like seeing it in 3D, which is fine. Okay. I mean, I'm pretty laid back, chill. I'll see it in whatever. But 2D experience was great. I think 3D would be interesting. And just remember, when I say 3D, it's not the old 3D that pops out in your face. It's looking into the screen. There's a depth of field, not like popping out at you. That's more of how the 3D works anymore.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it was very enjoyable. The acting was great. There was a few times the dialogue was a little off, and it was like cringe-worthy. And no movie's perfect, but I mean, between that and I mean that was kind of the biggest thing for me. It's just some of the dialogue was just terrible.
Right.
And okay, there were a few story points. Once again, I'm trying not to spoil anything, but there are a few story points that you're like, wait, well, why are they doing that? But it's not to the point to where it affects the overall story. It's just kind of like that backstory that they tried to fill in and give like the quote unquote bad guys like motive.
Okay.
But once it doesn't really matter that it was terrible or not, because it doesn't really affect the overall story, which is fine. So I give them both passes on those. Overall, there was a few surprises throughout the movie. And it, in some ways, it's very predictable in other aspects, but even with that, it was a fun time, and I think it'll be one of the better blockbusters of this year. It's my second favorite movie I've seen this year, so.
It was, what in the first weekend it already made like 500 plus million
Yeah, it
worldwide.
literally almost rivaled Avengers. Meaning it almost beat Avengers, which is impressive because Avengers is like this juggernaut right now, right? They're really hard to beat in the box office, but Jurassic World came out with punches, and I mean they just about did it. So kudos to them.
Now, in regards to the CGI, there's some of the
It
reviews
wasn't
I've
bad
heard.
actually.
Okay, so I've
Um,
heard, since they use a lot of animatronics in Jurassic Park
right.
22 years ago, that Jurassic Park looks more realistic than Jurassic World does today.
I agree. Anytime you use CGI, especially if you're using it for a character model, your brain knows. It knows that that's not real versus the animatronics anymore, especially with the HD. It really just brings it out. It doesn't look terrible. It's still, slightly believable. It's not like the first Jurassic Park didn't use any CGI. I mean, there was
They obviously had to use some.
yeah, there was a lot of points where they just really had to use that CGI to enhance the movie, but they didn't rely on CGI like the prequels to Star Wars. So that's always good.
Okay.
But the park, it almost looked like it was just like this ginormous park that they actually made. Like it looked like there was very little CGI. I'm sure there was a lot, but when they panned out and you saw the whole park and it was open with all the people, like it looked very believable to me. So
Okay.
it was really cool.
Now, did you catch the Jimmy Buffett appearance?
Oh, Jimmy Fallon.
No, Jimmy Buffett
Oh,
was in Jurassic World.
I didn't, but I did see Jimmy Fallon, I think.
Because there's supposed to be a scene in there where there's a guy that's grabbing like
The margarita?
yeah,
Okay, then yes. I didn't realize that was him.
grabbing one or two margaritas, and
Yeah.
that's actually Jimmy Buffett. I heard
So
that. Like,
Jimmy Buffett makes
how
an
about that?
appearance in Jurassic World.
Yeah,
He's grabbing the margaritas.
right. Of course. I mean, Mr. Margaritaville.
Yeah, and so there's a ride, and Jimmy Fallon actually makes an appearance too, and he's like announcing like certain things happening during once you get in one of those like hamster wheel ball things. I forget what they called them, but he's like saying how safe it is and things that they do and things like that. But he makes a guest appearance too, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I have to go try to see that in next week or so.
Yes, I would highly recommend it.
All right.
Mad Max though, still my number one pick of this year.
Okay. I have to try to catch that in theaters before it leaves as well.
Yeah, I definitely would catch that one. That one is so good.
So, all right. Well, I don't really have anything for the app entertainment picks other than Orange is the New Black season 3 is available on Netflix.
Yes, it is.
I guess I've
So,
watched. I think I've seen 3 or 4 episodes.
Yep,
And
Sarah's
as
busy watching that
always,
as well.
well done. The storylines on it. definitely just go back to season 1 and start over if you have not watched any Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good, and Sarah thinks I would like it, so maybe I might watch it soon.
Yeah, it's very there's so much humor in it. This is really good. A lot of humor, a lot of drama, good storylines, and how certain characters came to be and how they ended up in prison, and some of their backstories. It's really good. It's really good, really good. So that pretty much does it for this episode. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. I know a lot of people in the chat, since we had to change our start time, unfortunately showed up a little bit later, but we do appreciate all you guys. I see halftime's in there. We're all Mr. MVP's there. JJ's here as well because he just woke up. So glad to have everybody here with us as well today. So we're going to go ahead and get off here and let Brad get ready to head over to the Microsoft store.
Indeed. Good times ahead.
Yeah, we'll be back on episode 81 with more E3 news, as I have everything that comes from today, tomorrow, and anything that comes in a little bit before the show on Wednesday.
Yeah, and we'll be back at regular time for that.
So noon Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, the 17th of June, for episode 81.
Wow, already halfway.
I know. This month is almost halfway over. Just about a week from the true official start of summer, June 21st.
JJ suggests that you should watch The Newsroom, which I agree, because I thought that at least the first season was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to.
All right.
Yeah,
take us on.
Pretty much does it. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for listening. And if you would like to support the show, please visit thetechinformist.com/support to find out how you can support the show. Without sponsors, without supporters, the show is not possible. So we do appreciate everybody. And I guess that's pretty much it. So my name is Kevin Harvell. Find me on Twitter at Kevin Harvell. You can find Brad Whiteside on Twitter as well at holy_shadows. So have a great rest of the day, everybody. And until next time, consider yourself informed. We are out.
See you.